How's it going, everyone? It's Deus, and today I'm making another rant video, this time about faction stacking, server zerging, map painting, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. Basically, I think that the whole concept of that is kind of detrimental to PvP campaigns in general. Like, and when I say faction stacking, I don't refer to zerging in particular. Zerging isn't a bad thing. Zergs are actually, I think, good for the game. It provides stuff to do. And if you're the type of person that's small scale, outnumbered stuff, like, it's nice to have Zergs because, it keeps the map going. So I'm not against Zergs. What I am against, though, is the entire faction zerging down one place, like having 50, 60, 70 people pushing on one keep, or having an egregious amount of people trying to take a resource from you. Like, that is kind of ridiculous. I just want to go ahead and preface this by saying that the background footage that I have right now is not particularly what I'm talking about. It's just a few filler clips that I have to throw in the background before I actually get into the meat and potatoes of what I'm talking about. So treat this stuff right now as just like filler clips. I will show actual examples of the servers they're getting and faction stacking that I'm talking about in a second, but this is just, before I get the actual topic rolling. Now, to get into the main reason why I believe that faction stacking is just bad for PvP. For example, a few weeks ago during the Witches Festival in Blackreach, PlayStation NA, Daggerfall Covenant would constantly have a high population and compared to the other factions. Both AD and EP sometimes would have 0 bars on earlier in the day, and DC would have 1 bar on or 2 bars on all the time. And not only that, there was a time in which both AD and EP had low pop bonus at the exact same time because there's just nobody in there because DC was constantly faction stacking and keeping the map on lock. And they're being quite ridiculous about it. It was to the point where you couldn't even flip resources because of it. Like, you would try to take a resource and you'd just be met with either a full Zerg or a large group, and is just kind of ridiculous. Now, if you pay attention to the screenshot I have right here, this is how Blackreach looked at the time I was recording some of the clips I'm going to show. That entire day, Blackreach was just completely blue, and there was at least 2 bars of blue on, and there was barely any EP on. There was no AD on at all. In fact, there were a few AD in zone chat saying how they just couldn't do anything because DC was just everywhere. And that was the case with me. I couldn't do anything at all because they were just everywhere and they kept the map on lock 24/7. So I showed up to Harlan's outpost to try to test out my Stam DK. I noticed some blues were sieging it, so try to fight them on the flag, put some pressure on them, just trying to find out who the squishy guy is, keeping my heals up at the same time. And now I see this guy low on the flag. I try to pressure him a bit more, but he's doing well with healing himself. Now I'm trying to find a decent target. I immobilize, see this guy low, put a dizzy on him, took him down. Now I'm trying to put pressure on the other guys. I immobilized them, put my dots up, dizzy, executioner, finish him off. I tried to bash that guy, but he had immunity for some reason, so I try to put pressure on this guy again with some dots, dizzy, executioner to finish him off. And now this guy has quite a bit of damage, so I had to leap there just to get him off me, and now I'm trying to go and reapply my heals and stuff. And I'm not trying to give him any room to breathe, so I'm putting my pressure back up on him so he doesn't try to res again. And now I'm just trying to look for a good moment to take him down. Now I dot him up, hit him with a few executioners there, and he tries to go out the door even though they don't own this. And now I pressure him, executioner, finish him off, and then more blues showed up here. Quite a few, at least 4 of them I saw. And so I backed out, tried to get some line of sight, tried to see if I couldn't bait somebody out and take them down one by one. Someone chased me out, and now I try to immobilize them so I could then pressure them, but they just won't push on me. So I'm still trying to bait them away, and then they start to all push out, and I'm just like, all right. I'm trying to think of what to do, so I line of sight. More blues show up. There's at least 5 or 6 of them now, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna back away from this keep, get some line of sight. So I drop down this hill here, try to see if I can't turn and burn somebody. And now I'm just pulling away because I'm getting sniped and all this crap on me. Now I have at least like 7-ish guys chasing me now after originally there only being 3 people. And that's because at this time there was absolutely nothing on the map that wasn't blue besides Harlan's Outpost, which was owned by Red. So I just came here to get some action, and I ended up getting at least 7 people here to try to stop Red from owning this, which I just find funny. So yeah, eventually I'm gonna go down here because I'm out of resources, and they're just all pushing on me at the same time. Sad times, but not the last time that this is gonna happen today. Now in this clip, I showed up to a resource that Reds were taking over, and I decided I was going to hijack their resource from them and take their continuous because I didn't have one. So I showed up, started pressuring this one guy, leaped him to try to finish him off. He leaped me back. I'm looking low resources, but I saw he was low health, so I executed him. Now I'm pressuring this guy. He just kept standing there and blocking for some reason. I don't know why, so I was just like, alright, I'm going to kill you. He's pretty tanky, but I just keep applying pressure to him, and he's gonna go down eventually. Immobilize, dizzy, dot him up again, go for some dizzies again, reapplying my dots. He's looking low, and I leap. Executioner, he's still pretty tanky, but I finished him off finally. So now the resource is mine, and now I can finally get continuous until the blue Zerg decides to show up, and they're just like, yeah, we're not having none of this. At first there was only a few, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take it on. But then more and more keep showing it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna book it for the tower. I'm not gonna try and stand my ground against the Zerg. So I go into the tower, see if anybody follows me up, and one person does. So I try to fight him a little bit. He's using Dark Convergence, and I will find that out soon enough. So I try to pressure him, but he's pretty tanky. So yeah, I see the DC and I roll out of this. And at this point, I just realized how many people are on this flag. And I'm baffled just by how many people showed up to defend this resource. I'll show you in a second just how many. As you can see here in this screenshot, there's 2 people in this tower with me, and there are 6 other people on this flag. That makes 8 people. 8 people showed up to defend this resource. By the way, this resource never flipped to red or yellow. It just flagged on the map. So 8 people, almost a full group, showed up to defend a resource that never even swapped colors. That is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that nearly a full group has to show up to defend a resource that doesn't even change colors. That is kind of crazy. And this is kind of the point that I'm trying to get with this whole faction stacking thing. When your entire faction owns the map and you have the map on lock, why do you need full groups to defend resources? That is just baffling to me. I really don't know what to say, and it was like that for the entire night. I PvP'd for, I want to say, an hour and a half-ish, and it was like this all the time. You try to take a resource, full group shows up. You try to fight at a keep, full group or 2. 24/7. You couldn't do anything, and it makes sense why there was nobody else playing on yellow, because you couldn't take anything. You would literally have full groups showing up to stop you from flipping resources when they already own the entire map. And when people do things like this in the campaign, all it does is discourage people from playing the campaign. Like, I get the whole faction loyalty, blood for the pack, for the Dominion, stuff like that. But like, when you own the entire map, you do not need people on resource guarding duty. Because if nobody can take anything, nobody's going to play the campaign. You're indirectly killing the campaign by not allowing anyone to do anything. If anything, you should let people flag stuff, and then once the flags show up and wipe them, get some AP from it. Not just defend resources. Don't even allow anyone to do anything on the map, because then nobody's gonna play. That's what happened in freaking Ravenwatch on PSNA. Like, Ravenwatch is dead 24/7 just because when you try to flip anything in that campaign, you just get met with a full Zerg, or you get met with the Emperor trying to stop you from taking resources, and it just discourages people from playing the game. And now you're probably going to ask me, well, Deus, how do we fix this problem? How do we make this not happen? Well, in my honest opinion, I don't think you can not stop people from faction stacking and keeping people gated 24/7, but like, I think there are ways to alleviate it. So if people do faction stack and do this, you can kind of at least work around it, or at least like make it better. And in my honest opinion, I think that if they were to remove cross healing, even if people do faction stack, then it's much easier to wipe these groups. Like Dark Convergence, for example. As much as I hate that set, I feel like it'll be way more effective if these Zergs can't just run together and heal each other. Because I assure you, in that one clip with that 8 people in the resource, I doubt every single one of them were in a group together. But guess what? They can just keep each other alive. I feel like removing cross healing would alleviate this problem by a lot. Because right now, they can all just run large groups deep with random people and face tank together and also heal together. If cross healing were gone, then all they can do is face tank. All they can do is share the damage, but they can't share heals. And it'll be much easier to wipe these groups of random people together, because then they can't both face tank and share heals. If you're going to run a large group, then I feel like face tanking should be all that you have. You shouldn't be able to share heals and face tank at the same time. Because when you have a Zerg that has a bunch of healers, then guess what? They're going to keep you alive and you get to face tank. And that is kind of overpowered. Now, to wrap things up, I just want to say that it's not just DC that does this. EP does the same thing, AD does the same thing. Shoot, when I first swapped to AD, AD was doing the same thing in Greyhost. So everybody does this faction stacking and map painting and zerging, keeping people gated. It's not color specific, everyone does it. I just think it's kind of detrimental to PvP, and I feel like if we're going to have everybody moving deep with this much people, then the least they should do is not be able to heal each other. So it can make it competitive for the people that are outnumbered. But yeah, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and that's about it.